We are watching this Senate hearing, the expected final day of confirmation hearings for Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh now underway. So what are we going to get today? President Trump slamming Democrats for their opposition last night in Montana. He said this.
Do you believe the anger and the meanness on the other side? Sick. Judge Kavanaugh deserves overwhelming bipartisan support, and I think he's going to be one of our truly great Supreme Court justices.
Republican Senator Ben Sasse is on the Senate Judiciary Committee. He's with me now. How you doing, Senator? And good morning.
Doing well. Good morning,
We've
Bill.
been watching from afar. Tom Tillis called all this stuff desperate stunts. You were at the table yesterday. What was it?
Yeah, there's a lot of desperate stunts. There's just a lot of show theater around here. We've got too much soap opera in American politics. We should do a smaller number of the most important stuff for the American people and then stop with the theater. This hearing process has been great in the sense that Brett Kavanaugh has done a wonderful job. He's a great nominee. He has great demeanor, temperament, and character, and he's answered questions in the way that judges should, judicious, cautious, not giving signals of how to rule in the future. But these hearings have been unproductive for the American people in the sense of we should be teaching basic civics here, and there's been a lot of sideshow goofiness.
You think it put the Senate in a bad light? You think people just look at... Here's what we hear from senators. We are the mature body. I mean, that's essentially what folks like you say. But what we have watched this week, I mean, think about your kids at home. I mean, have they asked you, hey, Dad, what's going on there?
Yeah, they have, and they've turned it off, frankly. I've got 3 kids ranging from 7 to 17, and they've learned early on that they weren't going to get a lot out of this. I mean, the Senate is a broken institution. The Congress is a broken institution. We don't deliberate about long-term things. People want, you all have an important role to help narrate what's happening in American life, but senators shouldn't aspire to be pundits all day, every day. And most people's goals here are short-term popularity and news hits and sort of middle-term re-election. There's very little long-term thinking about what the country needs. And when the data shows that high school kids in America can't pass basic civics tests, they don't know we have 3 branches of government, they think the First Amendment is dangerous because you might use your free speech to say something that hurts somebody else's feelings. We got long-term crisis of civics and public trust in this country, and these hearings this week haven't made any of that better. We've made it worse.
Can you sort out the facts for us about what happened with Cory Booker yesterday? Were those emails released the night before? And was what he was doing there simply a stunt? Can you say facts certain that's what happened?
It's a terribly unfortunate thing. I like Cory Booker, but it was a terrible charade. It was a shameless stunt. So let's review facts. First of all, Democrats have been trying to claim for 4 straight days that all these Brett Kavanaugh papers haven't been released. Here's the actual fact. 5 times the amount of paper that's been released related to this nomination is far more than any Supreme Court nominee in U.S. history, and it's more than the last 5 nominees' papers combined. What hasn't happened is not every single paper of George W. Bush has been released, because those papers are not Brett Kavanaugh's, and they're not work that Brett Kavanaugh did. He was a secretary who shuffled paper to and from President Bush. And so President Bush, in a magnanimous, generous way, volunteered to give even more paper than had anything to do with this process. He simply said, you need to review it so we know that there are not national security secrets or X, Y, or Z in it. And so what Senator Booker decided to do is pretend that there was some terrible smoking gun in these documents. And it turns out not only have the documents already been released, and Booker and other Democratic senators and their staff knew the documents had been released, what the documents actually showed was that Brett Kavanaugh is against racial profiling. So the entire thing was bogus, and people knew they were bogus when they were doing it, and shows a terrible disrespect for the American voter in the long term because it undermines public trust.
I'm told Rand Paul's a yes. I don't know where Murkowski and Collins are. Are they yeses as of today? Yes or no? Can you answer that?
I can't speak for specific senators, but I am very confident Brett Kavanaugh is going to be confirmed. And when the Supreme Court reconvenes the end of the first week of October, I think we're going to have 9 justices on it. And Brett Kavanaugh is going to be a good justice for decades to come.
The Republican from Nebraska, Ben Sasse. Come on back, okay? Thank you for your time today.
Thanks for the invite.
You bet.